Thank you, Mr. Chairman and members of the committee. You know, when I listen to my Republican colleagues and they talk about the challenges that they face or that the constituents face, they're not the challenges that I hear from my constituents at home. What I heard during the COVID crisis was people's concerns about their public health and whether they were going to get COVID and whether the hospitals were going to be able to deal with it and whether the vaccinations were going to get out. And when I go home, I hear about all the infrastructure problems, you know, the roads that need to be fixed, the trains that need to be upgraded. In our state, you know, we're in the middle between Philadelphia and New York. And I hear about long-term economic challenges because so many people in the middle class just feel that they've been left behind. And so I want everyone to understand in the perspective here that I have, you know, basically as Democrats, we've tried to address these things during the COVID crisis and beyond in three ways. First was the American Rescue Plan, which essentially helped a lot of people and primarily from my perspective tried to deal with the COVID crisis by making sure we got the vaccinations out, that we had the supply chain, that people were able to go to the hospital, weren't afraid there weren't going to be enough ventilators. And there were so many other things in the American Rescue Plan. But then we have the Senate bipartisan infrastructure bill, which we do intend to vote on, that's primarily focused on the nation's infrastructure, which is falling apart. I don't know, maybe your state's different from mine, but our bridges, our tunnels, our pipes, you know, we address what we're trying to do with the lead in the pipes, our sewer systems, all these things are addressed in the BIF. And finally, with the Build Back Better Act, there's a recognition that we have to build back better. It's not enough that we face this crisis, but we have to deal with building back better after the crisis. It's not over yet, the COVID crisis, but hopefully we'll get there. And so I wanted to just talk briefly about what's the provisions within the jurisdiction of the Energy and Commerce Committee that would accomplish this goal of building back better. Now, chief among that, in my opinion, is the climate crisis, right? I don't know, again, what you're hearing at home, but you know, we had a nor'easter the last couple of nights. Everybody was afraid of the flooding. We had Hurricane Ida where people died. I think there were over 30 people in New Jersey that died. The sea level is rising. My district is along the coast. And so the Build Back Better Act aggressively tackles the climate crisis. Congressman Neal mentioned a lot of it, but I wanted to mention some things in our committee. It makes sweeping, unprecedented investments to combat the crisis. There's a new greenhouse gas reduction fund that accelerates innovation, prioritizes the needs of environmental justice communities. There's rebates for homeowners to electrify and make their houses more efficient, combined with resources to create a 21st century electric grid to get the renewables to power our neighborhoods. There's a new methane emission reduction program that drives down pollution from the oil and gas industry, and at the same time, substantial investments in electric vehicle charging stations and clean heavy-duty vehicles like school buses, and also helps we also help the American manufacturing stay globally competitive. So these investments come at a critical time. We've got to reduce our greenhouse gases, otherwise we're going to continue to have this climate crisis. Also, I mentioned the lead pipes. We have money in the BIF, but we need more for lead drinking lines, billions to replace these lead pipes, fulfilling a promise to deliver safer drinking water. I don't have to tell you about Michigan and Flint and all the problems that we've had with safe drinking water. Now, on health care, the provisions in the Build Back Better Act make health care more affordable and accessible for all Americans. So in American Rescue Plan, we had the extended subsidies to help more people get health insurance. We continue that for a few more years. We also address those people in the red states where they haven't expanded Medicaid by giving them those same subsidies that we have under the Affordable Care Act. We also include historic investments in home and community-based care. I think it's like $150 million. Permanently reauthorize the Children's Health Insurance Program. Dedicate long overdue resources and support to improve maternal health care and provide permanent funding to the U.S. territories, including Puerto Rico. Now, the legislation continues our investment in the public health infrastructure because of COVID. It includes critical investments in new and existing teaching health centers, for community health centers, also public health preparedness initiatives. Now, I understand that the Rules Committee print, I'm almost done, Mr. Chairman, but I understand that the Rules Committee print does not include provisions on prescription drug pricing, and I hope that it would have been in there, but we are committed to finalizing an agreement before we go to a floor that includes price negotiation, a cap on seniors' out-of-pocket drug spending, and a penalty for big pharma companies that unfairly raise prices. And the bill finally makes key investments in manufacturing supply chain resiliency and provides the Federal Trade Commission with essential funding to better protect consumers' privacy. I could go on, but I will not. I just want you all to understand that this is part of essentially a three-pronged process: American Rescue Plan, Senate Bipartisan Infrastructure, Build Back Better. We've got to make these investments to deal with the public health crisis, to deal with the underserving of our infrastructure, and also to deal with our long-term economic challenges that the middle class faces. And I think we're accomplishing that with this three-part series, and this being the last of it. Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Thank you very much.